Hey guys, tonight we begin with medieval bathroom etiquette. And trust me, it's not what you expect from people who supposedly lived in their own filth. One compelling fact that'll make you grateful for modern plumbing. Medieval nobles actually had more sophisticated toilet paper alternatives than you might think, and some of them were surprisingly luxurious. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Because once you hear about medieval wiping techniques, you'll never look at a fancy restaurant's cloth napkins the same way again. Let's start with the biggest misconception about medieval hygiene. Everyone assumes medieval people were disgusting, unwashed barbarians who never cleaned themselves and lived in perpetual squalor. In reality, medieval nobles were often cleaner than their Victorian descendants, and they definitely knew how to handle their business in the bathroom department. Think of it like assuming everyone today is gross because some people don't wash their hands. The wealthy and educated had standards. Thank you very much. This wasn't some primitive free-for-all where people just wiped with whatever was handy. It was a carefully considered system with actual protocols, preferences, and yes, even some luxury options. Medieval castle life had structure, including bathroom structure. And if you thought they were just squatting behind bushes and grabbing random leaves, think again. They had dedicated facilities, specific materials, and even bathroom attendants. For the really fancy folks thought the High Middle Ages were a time of surprising sophistication, especially among the nobility and wealthy merchant classes. Medieval castles weren't dark, dank dungeons where people relieved themselves wherever they pleased. They were complex architectural marvels with actual plumbing systems, dedicated toilet areas called garderobes, and carefully planned waste management. The Catholic Church controlled much of daily life, including ideas about cleanliness and bodily functions. But contrary to popular belief, they didn't consider bathing sinful. That's a later myth. Medieval nobles had access to imported goods, fine textiles, and servants whose literal job descriptions included helping with bathroom needs. If you thought medieval people were primitive about bathroom habits, think again. They had public bathhouses, private bathing chambers, and some castles even had running water systems that would make modern campers jealous. The wealthy imported soft fabrics from across Europe and beyond, maintained herb gardens specifically for personal hygiene, and employed servants who specialized in what we'd now call bathroom assistants. Some nobles even had perfumed toilet areas and scented oils for post-bathroom freshening up. The social hierarchy extended to bathroom privileges too. What you used to clean yourself literally depended on your social status, wealth, and geographic location. A peasant's bathroom experience was vastly different from a duke's, and the materials available in England differed significantly from those in Italy or France. Trade routes brought exotic options to those who could afford them, while local resources determined what everyone else used. Meet Gilles de Rais, a 5th century French noble who was obsessed with luxury in every aspect of life, including his bathroom habits. This guy had a private garderobe lined with imported silk tapestries and employed a servant whose only job was maintaining his toilet area and preparing his personal hygiene materials. But here's the twist. Despite all this attention to cleanliness and luxury, de Rais is now famous for being one of history's most notorious serial killers, proving that good bathroom habits don't necessarily make you a good person. De Rais used specially prepared linen cloths that were washed, dried, and perfumed between uses. His bathroom attendant would prepare different materials for different occasions, softer options for daily use, more absorbent materials when he was ill, and even scented versions for special events. The guy literally had a bathroom wardrobe. But if you think that's excessive, wait until you hear about the English nobility's obsession with imported Mediterranean sponges, or the French court's use of specially bred rabbits. Yes, you heard that right, rabbits, for the ultimate in soft, clean bathroom experiences. And speaking of the French court, they turned bathroom assistants into an actual art form, with specific protocols for approaching the royal posterior and hierarchies among the servants, based on how close they were allowed to get to the monarch's most private moments. One account describes a visiting Italian diplomat being so impressed with a French duke's bathroom setup that he wrote home requesting his own castle be equipped with similar facilities for the maintenance of noble dignity during necessary bodily functions. Medieval nobles took their bathroom game seriously. This wasn't just about personal comfort or cleanliness. Medieval bathroom habits were about status, health, and survival. Poor bathroom hygiene could literally kill you through infection or disease, while good hygiene practices were often the difference between living to see another crusade or dying from something we now treat with antibiotics. The materials you used, the privacy you had, and the assistance you received all communicated your social position to everyone around you. Medieval medicine understood that cleanliness prevented illness, even if they didn't understand germs yet. They knew that certain materials were safer than others, that some caused irritation or infection, and that proper cleaning could prevent the spread of diseases. For women especially, bathroom hygiene was crucial for preventing infections that could be fatal in an era before modern medicine. The politics of bathroom. Access in castles determined who had power and who didn't. Access to the good garderobe, spots, the finest materials, and personal bathroom servants was a privilege that had to be earned, granted, or fought for. Understanding medieval bathroom culture reveals the complex social hierarchies, trade networks, and daily survival strategies that define medieval life. But individual noble preferences were just the beginning. The actual materials and techniques used across medieval Europe reveal a fascinating world of international trade, local innovation, and surprising sophistication that would make modern bathroom supply companies jealous. Let's dive into what they actually used. The world of medieval bathroom materials was like a medieval Amazon marketplace, except instead of 2-day shipping, you might wait 6 months for your premium Mediterranean sponges to arrive by caravan. Unlike our modern assumption that medieval people just grabbed whatever was handy, leaves, corn cobs, or heaven forbid, their left hand, the reality was a sophisticated network of specialized materials, each with its own social significance, price point, and effectiveness rating. Thought the wealthy didn't just have better food and fancier clothes. They had an entire hierarchy of bottom cleaning materials that would make modern toilet paper manufacturers weep with envy. We're talking about imported silk strips, specially prepared animal furs, Mediterranean sea sponges attached to sticks, and linen cloths that were washed, bleached, and reused more carefully than most people today treat their favorite shirts. This system developed because medieval people understood something we've forgotten. Not all wiping materials are created equal. They had to consider absorbency, softness, availability, cost, and reusability, because throwing things away wasn't really an option when everything had to be made by hand. The result was a surprisingly sophisticated understanding of bathroom material science that would make modern engineers nod in approval. Different regions developed different specialties based on local resources and trade connections. Italian nobles preferred Mediterranean sponges and silk remnants from their textile industry. French nobility went for specially prepared linen and imported furs. English lords made do with locally produced materials, but imported luxury options when they could afford them. German nobility, always practical, developed some of the most efficient reusable systems that balanced cost, comfort, and cleanliness. And the Spanish, with their connections to both Mediterranean and Atlantic trade routes, had access to the widest variety of exotic bathroom materials, turning posterior care into something approaching an art form. Take the case of Eleanor of Aquitaine, who traveled between France and England and had very specific requirements for her bathroom materials regardless of which castle she was visiting. Her household accounts from the 12th century list soft linens for personal cleansing as a regular expense, along with payments to servants for preparing and maintaining the queen's necessary cloths. Eleanor's bathroom kit included multiple grades of linen, from everyday rough weave for basic cleaning to fine, almost silk-like cloth for sensitive days. She also traveled with a supply of imported Mediterranean sponges, which were considered the Mercedes-Benz of medieval bathroom accessories. But Eleanor's setup was modest compared to some of her contemporaries. The French court developed what they called royal toilet protocols that included a rotating supply of materials. King Louis VII allegedly had servants who did nothing but prepare, clean, and organize his bathroom materials. They would lay out different options each morning like a medieval bathroom sommelier. Today, we have the Spanish wool, freshly cleaned and scented with lavender, the Italian silk remnants, soft as a cloud, and your usual Mediterranean sponge, perfectly sized and mounted on the carved ivory handle. One Italian nobleman, Francesco Dattini, kept detailed household accounts that reveal the medieval bathroom supply chain in all its glory. His records show regular purchases of sponge sticks from Pisa merchants, fine linen strips from Flemish traders, and payments to local women for washing and preparing the master's cleansing cloths. Dattini was basically running a medieval subscription service for bathroom materials, with seasonal adjustments based on availability and his own preferences. The most extreme example comes from the Burgundian court, where Duke Philip the Good allegedly had a different bathroom material for each day of the week. Monday was Mediterranean Sponge Day. Tuesday featured imported silk strips. Wednesday brought specially prepared rabbit fur. Yes, rabbit fur. Apparently, it was incredibly soft. Thursday meant fine linen. Friday was for wool cloth. Saturday featured whatever exotic material had recently arrived via trade routes. And Sunday was reserved for his most luxurious option, strips of ermine fur that were cleaned, perfumed, and reused with the care most people reserve for family heirlooms. English developed their own approach, focusing on efficiency and local materials. They created a system using prepared sheep's wool that was cleaned, carded, and treated with oils to make it soft and absorbent. English castle accounts show regular payments for wool preparation for the lord's necessary use, and oils for treating the cleansing wool. They also imported Mediterranean sponges when possible, but developed local alternatives, using treated moss and specially prepared cloth that could be laundered and reused dozens of times. Some nobles took this to ridiculous extremes. There are accounts of a German count who employed a servant whose only job was testing different materials on his own skin to ensure they were soft enough for his master's use. Another French duke allegedly had his bathroom materials blessed by his personal chaplain before use, because apparently even toilet paper needed divine approval in the Middle Ages. The most practical approach came from Italian merchants, who developed a system of graduated materials based on the occasion. Daily use called for standard prepared linen. Illness required softer imported silk. Travel meant portable sponge sticks, and special occasions warranted their finest materials. They basically invented the concept of situational bathroom luxury, proving that medieval people understood the importance of matching your wiping material to your circumstances. But it wasn't that simple. The same nobles who insisted on silk strips for their bathroom needs would often go months without changing their undergarments. because laundry was expensive and time-consuming, but wiping materials were considered essential for health. This led to the contradictory situation where someone might have a perfectly clean bottom, but be wearing the same linen undergarments for weeks at a time. Religious considerations complicated things further. Some clergy argued that too much attention to bodily comfort, even in bathroom matters, was a sign of vanity and spiritual weakness. This created a fascinating tension where nobles had to balance their desire for comfort with the need to appear appropriately pious. Some solved this by using luxury materials privately, but making sure their public bathroom references emphasize practicality and necessity rather than comfort. The availability of materials created regional disparities that sometimes reached absurd levels. A Spanish noble visiting an English castle might find the local bathroom materials completely inadequate, while an English lord in Italy might be overwhelmed by options he'd never seen before. This led to some nobles traveling with their own bathroom supplies, creating a medieval version of the modern travel toiletry bag. Economic factors added another layer of complexity. The same materials that were everyday items for the wealthy were luxury goods for the middle class and completely unavailable to the poor. This created a bathroom class system where your social status was literally determined by what you used. To wipe your bottom, a merchant might save up for months to afford a single Mediterranean sponge, while a duke would use one once and discard it. Weather and seasonal availability meant that even the wealthy sometimes had to make do with substandard materials. A harsh winter that disrupted trade routes could leave a French count using the same rough linen that his servants used, while a good trading year might mean even minor nobles could afford imported silk remnants for their bathroom needs. The result was a bathroom material economy that was surprisingly sophisticated and economically significant. Cities like Venice and Genoa made substantial profits importing and distributing bathroom materials to nobles across Europe. Specialized craftspeople developed techniques for preparing, cleaning, and maintaining these materials. Entire servant hierarchies were built around bathroom material management, with head servants who specialized in procurement and junior servants who handled the actual cleaning and preparation. The focus on bathroom materials also drove innovation in related areas. The need to clean and reuse materials led to advances in laundry techniques, soap making, and textile processing. Nobles who demanded the softest possible materials funded research into fabric treatments, animal fur preparation, and sponge cultivation. Some of the techniques developed for bathroom materials were later applied to other luxury goods, proving that innovation in one area often spreads to others. Social etiquette around bathroom materials became incredibly complex. There were rules about who could use what materials, how to properly request bathroom supplies when visiting other nobles, and appropriate gifts related to bathroom comfort. A well-chosen set of imported sponges could be a diplomatic gift, while offering substandard materials to a guest was considered an insult. The emphasis on bathroom luxury also created a cottage industry of counterfeit materials. Unscrupulous merchants would pass off local sponges as Mediterranean imports, sell treated cat fur as rabbit fur, or market rough linen as fine silk. This led to the development of bathroom material expertise among noble households. Servants who could identify genuine materials and detect fakes, protecting their masters from bathroom fraud. Women faced additional complications because their bathroom needs were more complex and variable. Female nobles often required different materials at different times, leading to even more sophisticated bathroom supply management. Some noble households maintained separate bathroom material supplies for men and women, with specialized servants for each dot. The investment in bathroom materials also created preservation challenges. Keeping silk strips and Mediterranean sponges in good condition required proper storage. regular cleaning, and protection from moisture and pests. Some castles had dedicated rooms for bathroom material storage, with servants responsible for maintaining proper conditions and rotating supplies to prevent deterioration. Meanwhile, while the nobles were perfecting their bathroom material systems, the actual facilities where these materials were used were undergoing their own evolution. The garderobe, the medieval castle toilet, was becoming an architectural feature that combined engineering, hygiene, and social hierarchy in ways that would make modern bathroom designers weep with envy or horror, depending on their perspective. If you thought the materials were sophisticated, wait until you see what medieval engineers did with castle plumbing, waste management, and the delicate art of positioning toilets for maximum privacy, minimum smell, and optimal social signaling. Because in medieval castle design, even the location of your bathroom said something about your place in the social hierarchy, and the engineering required to make it all work without indoor plumbing was nothing short of miraculous, or occasionally catastrophically disgusting. That the garderobe wasn't just a toilet. It was a statement, an engineering challenge, and sometimes a weapon of war. And the stories of what happened when these systems worked perfectly or failed spectacularly reveal just how much medieval people cared about their bathroom privacy. Even when privacy meant hanging your bottom out over a castle wall for all the world to potentially see down. If medieval bathroom materials were sophisticated, then medieval castle toilets, called garderobes, were engineering marvels disguised as simple stone seats with holes in them. While nobles were perfecting their wiping techniques with imported silk and Mediterranean sponges, castle architects were solving complex problems of waste disposal, ventilation, privacy, and social hierarchy using nothing but stone, gravity, and occasionally some very creative engineering that would make modern plumbers either applaud or run screaming. The garderobe wasn't just a bathroom. It was a carefully designed system that had to work without electricity, running water, or modern sewage treatment. These weren't primitive outhouses stuck in castle corners as afterthoughts. Medieval castle builders planned garderobe locations with the same attention they gave to defensive walls and great halls. Because nothing ruins a siege quite like having your toilet system fail when you're trapped inside with 100 knights and their digestive systems. The word garderobe literally means to guard the robe, because these rooms originally served double duty as both toilets and storage areas for clothing. The logic was brilliant and disgusting in equal measure. The ammonia from human waste would kill moths and other insects that might damage expensive fabrics. So your finest silks and woolens were literally protected by perfumes. Medieval people turned toilet gas into medieval mothballs, proving that necessity truly is the mother of invention. But garderobe design varied dramatically based on the castle's location, the builder's budget, the local geography, and the social pretensions of whoever was paying for construction. A garderobe in a cliff-top castle could simply drop waste into the sea or down a cliff face, nature's own sewage treatment. A castle built on flat ground required more creative solutions involving moats, designated waste pits, or elaborate drainage systems that channeled everything away from the castle, and hopefully towards someone else's property. That the social implications were enormous. The lord of the castle got the garderobe with the best view, the most privacy, and the most effective waste disposal. Lesser nobles got progressively worse facilities, while servants and soldiers often had to make do with communal latrines that were basically long benches with multiple holes, turning bathroom time into an unavoidably social experience. Your toilet privileges literally reflected your social rank, making the garderobe a physical manifestation of medieval hierarchy. Consider the legendary garderobe at Warwick Castle, which was positioned so that waste fell directly into the river Avon below. The engineering was clever, The toilet was built into an external tower that projected out over the water, ensuring that waste was immediately carried away by the current. But the location created an unexpected problem. The toilet was visible from the opposite riverbank, meaning that anyone using it was essentially performing their business in full view of anyone who happened to be on the other side of the river. This led to the installation of wooden screens and even imported tapestries to provide privacy, turning this simple act of waste disposal into an architectural challenge. The Earl of Warwick allegedly spent more on toilet privacy screens than some lesser nobles spent on their entire wardrobes. One visiting dignitary complained that he couldn't use the facilities during daylight hours because he was too well known to risk such public exposure, leading to the installation of a secondary, more private garderobe for sensitive guests. The Tower of London took a different approach, with multiple garderobes that emptied into the Thames through a complex system of chutes and channels. The Thames was tidal, which created the occasional problem of waste backup during high tide. There are accounts of unfortunate timing, leading to very unpleasant surprises for anyone using the facilities during the wrong tidal conditions. The Tower's constable eventually had to post tide schedules near the garderobes to help users time their visits appropriately. Perhaps the most famous garderobe disaster occurred at Chateau Galliard in France, where the toilet system became a strategic vulnerability. During the castle siege in 1204, the garderobe emptied through a chute that ran down the castle's outer wall, and according to legend, one of the attacking soldiers managed to climb up through the waste chute and open the castle gates from inside. The castle fell because someone literally broke in through the toilet system, proving that even the most private spaces could become public problems during wartime. English castles developed a particularly sophisticated approach to garderobe ventilation, using carefully positioned windows and air channels to prevent the buildup of noxious fumes. Caerphilly Castle in Wales featured garderobes with individual ventilation systems that drew fresh air from the outside while channeling waste fumes away from the user. The system was so effective that visitors often commented on how pleasant the castle's toilet facilities were, which was apparently a mark of distinction in medieval hospitality. The most elaborate garderobe system was at Conwy Castle, where the royal apartments featured a garderobe with running water, an almost unheard of luxury in the 13th century. A channel of fresh water ran continuously through the toilet area, carrying waste away while providing a constant supply of clean water for washing. The system required complex engineering to maintain water pressure and flow, involving elevated reservoirs, gravity-fed pipes, and drainage channels that would have impressed Roman engineers. But not all garderobe engineering was successful. Beaumaris Castle's designer got overly ambitious and created a garderobe system that was supposed to be self-cleaning through tidal action. The theory was that incoming tides would flush the waste channels clean twice daily. In practice, the system only worked during spring tides, and the rest of the time it created a stagnant, horrifically smelly mess that made portions of the castle uninhabitable during certain seasons. The garderobe at Bodiam Castle featured an innovative privacy system using a series of right-angle turns in the approach corridor, ensuring that even if someone opened the door, they couldn't see the person using the facilities. The designer was so proud of this feature that he had it documented in the castle's construction records, noting that the lord's necessities may be attended to with complete dignity and privacy. Some castles experimented with heated garderobes, using chimneys and flues to warm the toilet areas during winter months. Raglan Castle in Wales featured a garderobe with its own fireplace, creating what was essentially a medieval heated bathroom. The system worked so well that the garderobe became a popular gathering spot during cold weather, with nobles actually socializing in the toilet area because it was warmer than many other parts of the castle. This wasn't isolated innovation. Castle builders across Europe were developing increasingly sophisticated garderobe systems as they learned from each other's successes and failures. A pattern emerged where each generation of castle builders tried to outdo their predecessors in toilet luxury and efficiency, leading to an arms race of bathroom engineering that paralleled advances in military architecture. The pattern followed predictable lines. Coastal castles used water disposal systems. Clifftop castles used gravity. Flatland castles developed complex drainage networks. And everyone tried to solve the privacy problem while maintaining sanitary conditions. The solutions varied by region, but the underlying principles remained consistent. Waste had to go somewhere, smells had to be controlled, privacy had to be maintained, and social hierarchy had to be respected. Northern European castles focused on warmth and protection from weather, leading to more enclosed garderobe designs with smaller windows and sometimes even early forms of heating. Mediterranean castles emphasized ventilation and cooling, with larger openings and more elaborate air circulation systems. English castles often featured the most privacy-focused designs, while French castles tended toward more luxurious appointments and decorative elements. The pattern also showed increasing integration with castle defense systems. Later medieval castles often positioned garderobes so they could serve dual purposes, waste disposal and defensive positions. Arrow slits were sometimes incorporated into garderobe walls, allowing defenders to shoot at attackers while attending to their biological needs. This practical multitasking was peak medieval efficiency, defending your castle while literally sitting down on the job. Economic patterns emerged too. Wealthy castle owners competed to have the most impressive garderobe systems, leading to increasingly expensive and elaborate designs. The cost of garderobe construction became a significant part of castle budgets, with some estimates suggesting that toilet facilities could account for up to 10% of a castle's total construction cost when all the engineering, materials, and labor were factored in. Regional specialization developed as different areas became known for particular garderobe innovations. Welsh castles became famous for their privacy systems, French castles for their luxury appointments, and Italian castles for their integration with existing Roman infrastructure. This specialization led to a kind of medieval bathroom tourism, where nobles would visit other castles partly to see their innovative toilet systems. The effects were far-reaching and sometimes unexpected. Good garderobe systems made castles more pleasant to live in, but they also created new vulnerabilities during sieges. Effective waste disposal improved public health around castles, but complex systems required more maintenance and skilled craftsmen. Privacy innovations made noble life more comfortable, but they also reinforced social hierarchies by making toilet access another marker of rank and privilege. Castle servants specialized in garderobe maintenance, creating a new category of skilled worker whose job was essentially medieval plumbing. These gong farmers and garderobe keepers developed expertise in waste management, ventilation systems, and the delicate art of keeping toilet facilities functional without modern tools or chemicals. Their knowledge was valuable enough that skilled garderobe keepers could command good wages and were sometimes recruited by other castles looking to improve their facilities. The focus on garderobe engineering also drove broader innovations in castle construction. Techniques developed for waste disposal were applied to water supply systems, drainage for courtyards, and even defensive moats. The understanding of air circulation gained from garderobe ventilation informed the design of great halls, kitchens, and storage areas. Medieval engineers were learning fluid dynamics and air pressure management through toilet design, then applying that knowledge to other architectural challenges. Women's needs created additional impacts, as female nobles required more privacy and security in their garderobe access. This led to the development of private garderobes attached to women's quarters, with dedicated access routes that didn't require walking through public areas. Some castles featured separate garderobe facilities for men and women, while others developed time-sharing systems with complex etiquette, rules about when different groups could use which facilities. The social impact was substantial. Garderobe access became part of the complex web of castle hierarchies, with specific facilities designated for different social levels. Guests were assigned garderobe privileges based on their status, and the quality of toilet facilities offered to visitors became part of diplomatic protocol. A slight in garderobe assignment could be interpreted as a political insult, while generous toilet privileges were a sign of honor and respect. Unintended consequences included the creation of new forms of espionage and assassination. Garderobes became vulnerable points where enemies could potentially access castle interiors, leading to the development of security measures specifically for toilet areas. Some castles posted guards near garderobe entrances, while others developed complex approaches that made surprise attacks through toilet facilities difficult or impossible. The most significant long-term impact was the preservation of medieval understanding of sanitation and public health. Castle builders learned through trial and error which systems worked and which created health hazards, developing practical knowledge about waste management that influenced later urban planning and public health measures. Yet even as castle builders were perfecting garderobe engineering, the daily reality of medieval bathroom life was creating its own drama and complications. The social protocols, personal conflicts, and occasional disasters that occurred in and around these facilities reveal that medieval people were just as capable of bathroom-related awkwardness, embarrassment, and social tension as anyone today. The intersection of biological necessity, social hierarchy, and medieval etiquette created situations that were by turns hilarious, mortifying, and occasionally dangerous. When you combine elaborate toilet facilities with complex social rules, personal rivalries, and the general medieval tendency to turn everything into a matter of honor and politics, you get bathroom drama that would make modern reality TV producers weep with envy. From toilet-related diplomatic incidents to garderobe-based assassination attempts, from awkward encounters in communal facilities to the delicate protocol of requesting bathroom access during formal occasions, medieval castle life proves that some things never change. People will always find ways to make bathroom time complicated, embarrassing, and occasionally life-threatening. By the 13th century, medieval bathroom etiquette had reached a breaking point where biological necessity was colliding head-on with social protocol, political intrigue, and human dignity in ways that would make modern diplomats grateful for neutral bathroom spaces. The elaborate systems of garderobe hierarchy, toilet material privileges, and bathroom access rights had created a powder keg of potential embarrassment, offense, and occasionally actual violence that was just waiting for the right combination of bad timing, wounded pride, and digestive urgency to explode into a full-scale crisis. The stakes involved weren't just personal comfort or social awkwardness. These were matters of honor, political alliance, and sometimes literal life and death. When a visiting dignitary was assigned inadequate garderobe facilities, it could spark diplomatic incidents. When rivals found themselves in adjacent toilet stalls, it could lead to duels. When garderobe systems failed during important occasions, it could undermine royal authority and create political vulnerability that enemies were quick to exploit. The key players involved included not just the nobles, whose bathroom needs created these crises, but also the castle stewards responsible for managing facilities, the servants who maintained them, the architects who designed them, and the unfortunate diplomats who had to navigate the complex intersection of bodily functions and international relations. Medieval people had turned something as basic as going to the bathroom into a complex web of social signaling, political maneuvering, and status competition that could make or break careers, alliances, and reputations. The tensions had been building for decades as castle bathroom facilities became more elaborate and the social protocols around them became more rigid. What started as simple practical arrangements for waste disposal had evolved into baroque systems of privilege and hierarchy that were impossible to navigate without giving offense to someone. The more sophisticated the bathroom systems became, the more opportunities they created for social disaster, political manipulation, and personal humiliation. Medieval bathroom culture had reached the point where everyone involved, nobles, servants, guests, and castle staff, was walking on eggshells every time someone needed to answer nature's call. The elaborate etiquette, complex hierarchies, and expensive facilities had created a system so fragile and socially charged that it was practically guaranteed to explode spectacularly. And when it did, the consequences would be felt far beyond the castle walls. The Great Garderobe crisis of 1297 began during a diplomatic summit at Caerphilly Castle, where Edward I of England was hosting a delicate negotiation with Scottish nobles over territorial disputes. The gathering included dozens of high-ranking nobles, each with their own expectations about bathroom privileges, toilet material quality, and garderobe access protocols. What should have been a straightforward diplomatic meeting turned into a bathroom-related international incident that nearly sparked a war and definitely ruined several political careers. The trouble started on the second day when John Balliol, the deposed King of Scotland, arrived unexpectedly with a large retinue, throwing off all the carefully planned garderobe assignments. Castle Steward William de Clare had spent weeks organizing bathroom schedules, assigning specific garderobes to specific nobles based on their rank, political importance, and diplomatic sensitivity. Balliol's arrival meant that someone was going to get bumped from their assigned toilet, and in medieval politics, toilet reassignment was basically a declaration of disrespect. The immediate problem was that Balliol had been promised the second-best garderobe in the castle, the one with the imported marble seat and direct river access. But that facility was already assigned to Robert Bruce's father, who had specifically requested it because of his digestive issues and need for privacy. Moving Bruce would insult the Bruce family and potentially derail the entire negotiation, but not accommodating Balliol would be seen as a slight against his royal status, even though he was technically a deposed king. De Clare made the fateful decision to solve the problem by creating a time-sharing arrangement where Bruce and Balliol would alternate use of the premium garderobe every 2 hours. This seemed diplomatic and fair, but it ignored the basic reality that digestive systems don't run on diplomatic schedules. The arrangement lasted exactly 1 day before disaster struck. On the morning of the third day, Bruce was suffering from what medieval chronicles diplomatically describe as urgent necessities of the bowels, probably dysentery from the castles, rich food, and strong wine. He had been using the premium garderobe for over an hour when Balliol arrived for his scheduled time slot, accompanied by 2 Scottish earls who were witnessing the bathroom handover as a matter of protocol. Finding the garderobe occupied and hearing the unmistakable sounds of intestinal distress from within, Balliol declared loudly enough for half the castle to hear that he would not use facilities contaminated by Bruce waste, and demanded immediate access to Edward's personal royal garderobe. This was unprecedented. No one except the reigning monarch was supposed to use the royal facilities, but Balliol was technically still claiming to be the rightful King of Scotland, making his demand legally complex and diplomatically explosive. Edward I, who was trying to maintain neutrality while secretly supporting Bruce's claim to the Scottish throne, found himself in the impossible position of either offending Balliol by refusing his request, or setting a precedent that could undermine royal bathroom privileges throughout his kingdom. The situation escalated when Bruce finally emerged from the garderobe, weak and pale from his illness, only to find Balliol and his supporters surrounding the royal garderobe entrance in what amounted to a medieval bathroom blockade. Bruce, already suffering and now publicly humiliated, accused Balliol of ungentlemanly conduct unworthy of any king, deposed or otherwise. Balliol responded by questioning Bruce's fitness to rule anything, including his own bowels. What happened next depends on which chronicle you believe, but all accounts agree that Bruce drew his sword while still suffering from active dysentery, creating a situation where a potential claimant to the Scottish throne was simultaneously threatening violence and losing control of his digestive system in front of the most important nobles in Britain. Balliol's supporters drew their weapons in response, leading to the surreal spectacle of armed Scottish nobles having a standoff in front of toilets. While their would-be king was clearly in urgent need of medical attention and bathroom access, Edward I, showing the diplomatic skills that made him a successful king, personally escorted Balliol to his own royal garderobe while ordering his guards to help Bruce to the castle's medical facilities and assign him a private garderobe with round-the-clock access until his recovery. This solution satisfied no one. Balliol was humiliated by the implication that he needed royal charity to access a toilet. Bruce was furious about being treated like an invalid, and Edward's own nobles were horrified that their king had personally involved himself in bathroom logistics. The immediate aftermath included Bruce challenging two of Balliol's supporters to duels over their comments about royal bowel movements, Balliol demanding a formal apology for the deliberate contamination of diplomatic facilities, and Edward threatening to ban all future diplomatic meetings that might require bathroom coordination. The Scottish delegation left the castle in a rage. The English nobles spent the rest of the summit gossiping about who had the worst bathroom behavior, and poor William de Clare was stripped of his steward position for failure to maintain proper garderobe protocol during international negotiations. The response was swift and far-reaching across medieval Europe. News of the Caerphilly garderobe crisis spread through diplomatic networks faster than the plague, and every court from Paris to Rome suddenly realized that their own bathroom protocols might be creating similar vulnerabilities. The French court immediately commissioned a complete review of their garderobe assignment procedures, while the Pope issued a papal bull establishing guidelines for toilet etiquette during religious gatherings. The immediate consequences were severe for everyone involved. Bruce never fully recovered his reputation from the incident, with enemies referring to him as the Bowel King for the rest of his political career. Balliol found himself persona non grata at most European courts because hosting him required too much bathroom-related diplomatic risk. Edward I quietly implemented new rules requiring all diplomatic meetings to include detailed bathroom logistics in their advanced planning, essentially creating the world's first international toilet diplomacy protocols. The political fallout was enormous. The Scottish negotiations collapsed completely, contributing to years of continued warfare between England and Scotland. Several marriages between English and Scottish noble families were called off because the families couldn't agree on appropriate bathroom arrangements for wedding guests. The incident became a case study in diplomatic failure that was taught to aspiring diplomats for generations, proving that even the most carefully planned negotiations could be derailed by poor bathroom management. Castle stewards across Europe suddenly found themselves elevated to crucial diplomatic positions, as their ability to manage garderobe logistics became essential to successful international relations. The profession of castle steward evolved to include extensive training in bathroom diplomacy, toilet hierarchy, and crisis management for digestive emergencies. During formal occasions, the incident also triggered a wave of garderobe construction, as castles rushed to build additional facilities to prevent similar crises. The fear of bathroom-related diplomatic disasters led to massive investment in toilet infrastructure, with some castles building separate diplomatic garderobes specifically for foreign dignitaries. This construction boom created a new specialty in castle architecture focused entirely on diplomatic bathroom needs. Ironically, the crisis also led to improved medical understanding of digestive ailments, as court physicians began studying the relationship between stress, diet, and bowel function to help prevent future politically sensitive bathroom emergencies. Medieval medicine made significant advances in treating dysentery and other digestive problems, partly because political stability now depended on keeping important people's intestinal systems functioning properly during crucial negotiations. The social consequences rippled through medieval society for decades. Bathroom etiquette became even more rigid and complex as people tried to prevent similar disasters. But the increased focus on toilet protocol also created more opportunities for offense and embarrassment. The incident proved that attempting to regulate biological functions through social hierarchy was inherently unstable and likely to create exactly the kinds of crises it was meant to prevent. This incident wasn't just an embarrassing diplomatic failure. It revealed fundamental contradictions in medieval society's approach to balancing human dignity with social hierarchy. The elaborate bathroom protocols that were supposed to maintain order and respect actually created systems so complex and fragile that they were guaranteed to fail at the worst possible moments, usually when people were most vulnerable and least able to maintain their social facades. What it revealed about medieval society was that the obsession with status and hierarchy extended into the most private and basic human functions, creating psychological pressure that made normal biological processes into potential sources of shame, conflict, and political disaster. The incident showed how medieval people had successfully turned something as universal as needing to use the bathroom into another battlefield for social competition and political maneuvering. The long-term effects included the gradual recognition that some aspects of human life might need to be exempt from social hierarchy and political protocol. Later medieval and Renaissance court culture began developing concepts of neutral spaces and private needs that gradually evolved into modern ideas about privacy and human dignity. Why historians still debate it today is because the Caerphilly crisis represents a perfect intersection of the personal and political, showing how individual human needs and social systems can conflict in ways that have far-reaching consequences. It's simultaneously hilarious and tragic, revealing both the absurdity of excessive social hierarchy and the very real human costs of systems that prioritize status over basic dignity and practical functionality. Around the main drama of noble bathroom politics, a fascinating cast of supporting characters played crucial roles in making medieval toilet culture function, each with their own stories, specialties, and occasionally tragic fates that reveal different aspects of this surprisingly complex world. Meet Master Geoffrey, the garderobe builder, a 14th century architect who specialized exclusively in castle toilet construction and became the most sought-after bathroom designer in England. Geoffrey developed revolutionary techniques for garderobe ventilation and waste disposal that were so effective he was poached by 3 different kings and eventually knighted specifically for his contributions to royal comfort. His autobiography, On the Proper Construction of Noble Necessities, became the definitive guide to medieval toilet architecture and included detailed diagrams of his innovative air circulation systems, waste chute designs, and privacy screens. Geoffrey's career peaked when he designed the elaborate garderobe complex at Windsor Castle, featuring heated seats, running water, and a revolutionary pulley system that delivered fresh toilet materials to users without requiring servant entry. He died wealthy and respected, proving that even in medieval times, people would pay handsomely for good bathroom engineering. His funeral was attended by half the nobility of England, many of whom credited him with making their daily lives significantly more pleasant and dignified. Then there's Dame Margaret the linen keeper, head of bathroom materials at the court of France, who managed the most sophisticated toilet supply operation in medieval Europe. Margaret oversaw a staff of 12 servants whose only job was preparing, cleaning, and organizing toilet materials for the royal court and important guests. She developed a complex classification system for different grades of linen based on softness, absorbency, and social status, maintaining detailed records of who used what materials and when. Margaret's innovations included a rotation system that ensured materials were always fresh, a quality control process that rejected substandard toilet supplies, and a diplomatic protocol for matching bathroom materials to the status and sensitivity of foreign dignitaries. Her greatest triumph was preventing a potential international incident when she realized that the German ambassador was allergic to the imported Mediterranean sponges and quickly substituted specially prepared local alternatives. Margaret was so skilled at her job that other European courts tried to recruit her, leading to what historians call the first recorded case of competitive bidding for a bathroom specialist. She retired with a pension that was larger than most knights' annual income, having literally built her career on keeping important people comfortable during their most private moments. Perhaps most fascinating is Brother Thomas the monastery toilet philosopher, a Franciscan monk who spent 30 years studying the spiritual and practical implications of medieval bathroom culture. Thomas believed that bathroom habits revealed fundamental truths about human nature, social justice, and Christian humility, leading him to write extensively about the moral implications of toilet luxury versus simplicity. His treatise on the Christian use of necessary facilities argued that excessive bathroom luxury was spiritually corrupting, while inadequate facilities were an offense against human dignity created in God's image. Thomas conducted detailed studies of monastery bathroom systems across Europe, developing guidelines for balancing practicality with spiritual appropriateness that influenced monastery design for centuries. His most controversial work suggested that communal monastery latrines promoted Christian brotherhood by forcing monks to overcome personal pride and embarrassment, while private facilities encouraged vanity and spiritual isolation. Thomas's ideas were so influential that several monasteries redesigned their facilities according to his recommendations, though his suggestion that abbots should use the same toilets as ordinary monks was generally ignored. He became known as the toilet theologian and was consulted by bishops and abbots across Europe, who wanted to ensure their bathroom facilities were both practical and spiritually appropriate. These weren't isolated individuals but part of a growing professional community of bathroom specialists whose expertise was becoming increasingly valuable as medieval toilet culture became more sophisticated and socially important. Castle staff included dedicated garderobe keepers, material specialists, and even bathroom security personnel whose job was ensuring appropriate access and preventing toilet-related incidents during political gatherings. These weren't isolated incidents, but part of intricate webs of relationships and dependencies that reveal how medieval bathroom culture connected unexpected people and places across Europe. The toilet materials trade linked Mediterranean sponge divers with English castle households, Flemish linen weavers with French noble families, and Spanish sheep farmers with German monastery communities in a complex network of bathroom-related commerce. Consider the case of the Venetian Sponge Consortium, a group of merchants who controlled the Mediterranean sponge trade and wielded enormous influence over European bathroom culture. These traders maintained exclusive relationships with Greek and Turkish sponge divers, Sicilian processors who prepared sponges for toilet use, and shipping networks that distributed bathroom materials across Europe. The consortium's records reveal fascinating details about medieval toilet material preferences. English nobles preferred larger, softer sponges and were willing to pay premium prices for consistent quality, while French courts demanded smaller, more delicate sponges that could be perfumed and decorated for ceremonial use. The political networks surrounding bathroom culture created unexpected alliances and conflicts. When the Holy Roman Emperor's garderobe keeper died suddenly during a diplomatic summit, it created a crisis because no one else understood the complex protocols for managing imperial toilet access during international negotiations. The French courts secretly loaned their own bathroom specialists to prevent a diplomatic disaster, creating a debt of gratitude that later influenced a territorial dispute in Burgundy. Meanwhile, English and Scottish courts competed to recruit the best garderobe architects, leading to international poaching of bathroom talent that paralleled military recruitment. Social networks formed around shared bathroom experiences in ways that crossed traditional class boundaries. Castle garderobe keepers from different regions would exchange letters sharing techniques for improving toilet materials, managing waste disposal, and preventing bathroom-related social disasters. These professional communications created informal networks of bathroom specialists who were often better informed about innovations and problems than the nobles they served. The interconnections extended to unexpected areas of medieval life. Monastery scriptoriums produced instruction manuals for toilet construction and maintenance that were copied and distributed across Europe, making monastery libraries inadvertent centers for bathroom technology transfer. Medical schools began studying digestive health partly because political stability increasingly depended on keeping important people's bathroom needs manageable during crucial negotiations. Trade route disruptions could create bathroom crises that had political implications. When wars in the Mediterranean interrupted sponge shipments, Northern European courts had to develop local alternatives, leading to innovations in toilet material preparation that changed bathroom culture permanently. The Black Death killed many skilled garderobe keepers and bathroom material specialists, creating knowledge gaps that took generations to rebuild and led to permanent changes in how toilet facilities were managed. Marriage negotiations began, including provisions for bathroom access and material quality, as noble families realized that inadequate toilet facilities could cause diplomatic problems or personal unhappiness that might affect political alliances. Wedding contracts sometimes specified toilet material allowances for brides, and dowries might include specialized bathroom servants or supplies of imported toilet materials. Economic networks developed around bathroom luxury that rivaled other luxury goods markets. Specialized craftsmen emerged who worked exclusively on toilet-related products: seat carvers, privacy screen makers, ventilation specialists, and material preparers whose skills commanded high wages and professional respect. These specialists often worked for multiple noble households, creating professional relationships that crossed political boundaries and sometimes facilitated diplomatic communications through informal bathroom industry networks. The interconnections even extended to espionage and intelligence gathering. Garderobe keepers and bathroom servants often knew sensitive information about their employers' health, habits, and vulnerabilities, making them valuable targets for foreign agents seeking intelligence about rival courts. Several documented cases exist of bathroom servants being recruited as spies, taking advantage of their access to private information and their ability to observe noble behavior during unguarded moments. To understand medieval bathroom culture, you have to understand the broader medieval obsession with cleanliness as a mark of spiritual and social status. Despite modern stereotypes about medieval hygiene, daily life for the wealthy included elaborate washing rituals, clothing changes, and personal grooming routines that were far more sophisticated than most people realize. Bathroom habits were just one part of a comprehensive approach to personal cleanliness that was considered essential for maintaining social position and spiritual health. beliefs and attitudes about bodily functions were shaped by medical theories inherited from ancient Greece and Rome, combined with Christian theology about the body as God's creation that deserved respect and care. Medieval people understood that cleanliness prevented disease, even if they didn't understand germ theory, and they developed practical approaches to hygiene that were often remarkably effective. The wealthy had access to soap, imported perfumes, and specialized cleaning tools that allowed them to maintain standards of personal cleanliness that would satisfy modern expectations. Social structures around bathroom culture reflected broader medieval hierarchies, but also created unique opportunities for social mobility. Skilled bathroom servants could earn respect and good wages, while innovative garderobe builders could gain noble patronage and social advancement. The bathroom industry provided career paths for people who might otherwise have been limited to agricultural or basic craft work, creating a specialized professional class whose expertise was valued across social boundaries. What was normal versus exceptional in medieval bathroom culture reveals fascinating contradictions in medieval society. While elaborate toilet facilities and luxury materials were exceptional, basic standards of cleanliness and proper waste disposal were considered normal expectations for anyone above peasant status. The gap between rich and poor in bathroom facilities was enormous, but even modest households tried to maintain some version of proper toilet arrangements, suggesting that bathroom dignity was considered a basic human need rather than pure luxury. How this shaped events becomes clear when you realize that bathroom culture was often where social tensions, political conflicts, and personal rivalries played out in concentrated form. Because bathroom needs were universal, but bathroom access was hierarchical, toilet facilities became natural flashpoints for broader social conflicts. Many seemingly minor medieval political disputes had underlying tensions about respect, dignity, and social position that were symbolically expressed through bathroom-related slights and privileges. Perhaps most ironic was the fact that medieval people who were supposedly primitive and dirty about hygiene had developed bathroom systems that were often more sophisticated, environmentally sustainable, and socially conscious than many modern approaches. While we imagine medieval people as crude about bodily functions, they actually had more elaborate etiquette, better understanding of waste management, and more consideration for privacy and dignity than many contemporary cultures. Examples of contradictions abound. The same nobles who insisted on imported silk for toilet materials would wear the same undergarments for weeks. People who developed complex protocols for bathroom hierarchy often ignored basic medical advice about diet and exercise. The most elaborate garderobe systems were sometimes the least hygienic because their complexity made proper maintenance difficult. How things weren't what they seemed extends to the social implications of bathroom culture. What appeared to be simple practical arrangements for waste disposal were actually complex systems of social control, political signaling, and economic organization that influenced everything from international diplomacy to local craft specialization. The apparent simplicity of medieval toilet arrangements masked sophisticated understanding of engineering, social psychology, and economic organization. Modern parallels to these contradictions include our own tendency to use bathroom luxury as a status symbol while ignoring environmental consequences, our development of complex public bathroom etiquette that creates as much awkwardness as it prevents, and our assumption that technological solutions can solve social problems that are fundamentally about human dignity and equity. Medieval bathroom culture reveals that some human challenges around privacy, hierarchy, and biological necessity remain remarkably constant across centuries, even as the specific solutions change dramatically. Everything changed when the Renaissance brought new ideas about privacy, individual dignity, and personal comfort that fundamentally challenged medieval bathroom culture's emphasis on hierarchy and communal arrangements. The transformation wasn't sudden. It began in Italian city-states during the 14th century and spread gradually across Europe over the next 2 centuries, but it represented a complete reimagining of how civilized people should handle their most basic biological needs. The background to this change lay in broader Renaissance thinking about human dignity, individual worth, and the proper relationship between social status and personal comfort. Medieval bathroom culture had been built on the assumption that toilet access and material quality should reflect social hierarchy, with the best facilities reserved for the highest-ranking nobles and everyone else making do with whatever their status merited. Renaissance humanists began questioning whether basic human needs should be subject to social ranking, arguing that certain aspects of human dignity were universal rather than earned through birth or achievement. This moment was different because it coincided with several other transformative developments. Increased wealth from expanding trade networks made bathroom luxury affordable for more people. New architectural techniques allowed for more sophisticated private spaces, and changing ideas about the relationship between physical and spiritual health created demand for better hygiene facilities. Most importantly, the Renaissance emphasis on individual achievement and personal comfort began undermining the medieval assumption that accepting discomfort and hierarchy was a virtue. Key factors that led to transformation included the influence of rediscovered classical texts that described Roman bathroom facilities, the wealth of Italian merchant families who could afford to experiment with new approaches, the competitive pressure between city-states to demonstrate their sophistication and prosperity, and the gradual shift from feudal social structures to more fluid class systems where wealth could matter more than birth. The Renaissance celebration of human achievement extended to achievements in comfort, convenience, and personal dignity, making bathroom improvement a mark of cultural advancement rather than spiritual decadence. The change also reflected new understanding of disease transmission and the importance of cleanliness for health. While medieval people had known that cleanliness prevented illness, Renaissance scholars began developing more systematic approaches to hygiene based on observation, experimentation, and classical medical texts. This scientific approach to cleanliness supported arguments for better bathroom facilities as a matter of public health rather than personal luxury. Perhaps most significantly, Renaissance individualism challenged the medieval assumption that private moments should be subject to social oversight and hierarchy. The growing emphasis on personal privacy, individual dignity, and the right to comfort during vulnerable moments created philosophical support for bathroom arrangements that prioritized function and personal needs over social signaling and hierarchy. Maintenance. Italian architects and engineers, inspired by rediscovered Roman engineering techniques and funded by wealthy patrons eager to demonstrate their sophistication, began developing bathroom systems that emphasize privacy, comfort, and functionality over social hierarchy. These innovations gradually spread to other parts of Europe, as nobles competed to demonstrate their cultural sophistication and practical wisdom by adopting the latest bathroom technologies and approaches. The transformation of European bathroom culture unfolded through a complex process of innovation, resistance, adaptation, and gradual acceptance that reveals how deeply entrenched social customs change when challenged by new ideas, technologies, and economic opportunities. Resistance to change came from predictable sources. Traditional nobles who saw bathroom hierarchy as part of the natural order, religious conservatives who worried that excessive comfort would corrupt moral character, and castle staff whose expertise and employment depended on maintaining complex traditional systems. The medieval garderobe keepers, toilet material specialists, and bathroom protocol experts had built careers around managing hierarchical toilet systems, and simplified approaches threatened their professional relevance and economic security. Champions of change included Italian Renaissance architects who saw bathroom design as an opportunity to demonstrate engineering skill and aesthetic sophistication. Wealthy merchants who wanted to use bathroom luxury to assert their social status and cultural refinement. And humanist scholars who argued that dignified toilet facilities were consistent with proper respect for human nature. These reformers had different motivations, but shared the belief that medieval bathroom arrangements were unnecessarily complex, socially divisive, and philosophically outdated. The specific steps of transformation varied by region and social context, but generally followed predictable patterns. Innovation typically began with wealthy individuals experimenting with new approaches in their private residences, often inspired by Italian models or classical precedents. Successful innovations would be copied by social rivals and gradually adopted by broader networks of wealthy families. Eventually, modified versions would filter down to lower social levels as costs decreased and techniques simplified. Obstacles encountered included technical challenges in adapting new bathroom technologies to existing castle architecture, social resistance from people whose status depended on traditional arrangements, economic constraints that limited access to new materials and techniques, and practical problems that arose when innovative systems failed or created unexpected complications. Many early Renaissance bathroom experiments were disasters that reinforced conservative arguments for maintaining traditional approaches. Breakthrough moments often came when prestigious families or institutions successfully demonstrated that new approaches could be both practical and socially impressive. The Medici family's bathroom innovations in Florence became models that other Italian families copied, while successful adaptations in French and English courts provided templates for broader adoption. Military leaders who proved that improved bathroom facilities could maintain army health and morale created practical arguments for innovation that overcame conservative resistance. The role of individuals versus larger forces in driving change reveals the complex interaction between personal innovation and social transformation. Individual architects, patrons, and reformers provided the creativity and initiative necessary for developing new approaches, but broader social and economic forces determined which innovations succeeded and spread. The Renaissance emphasis on individual achievement created cultural support for bathroom innovation, while expanding trade networks provided materials and techniques that made new approaches practical. Technological innovation played a crucial role as Renaissance engineers developed new techniques for water supply, waste disposal, ventilation, and privacy that made individual bathroom facilities more practical and affordable. These technical advances supported social changes by making it easier to provide good bathroom facilities without complex hierarchical management systems. Economic factors were equally important, as expanding wealth made bathroom luxury affordable for more people, while competitive pressures encouraged innovation and improvement. The growth of urban centers created new challenges and opportunities for bathroom design that rural castle systems couldn't address, leading to innovations that eventually influenced rural arrangements. Cultural changes in religious and philosophical thinking provided intellectual justification for bathroom reform, while political changes that reduced the importance of traditional feudal hierarchies created social space for new approaches. The Renaissance celebration of human dignity and individual worth provided philosophical support for arguments that basic comfort and privacy were rights rather than privileges to be earned through social status. The process was gradual and uneven, with different regions and social groups adopting changes at different rates and in different ways. Italian innovation spread quickly within Italy, but took decades to reach Northern Europe, while some aspects of traditional medieval bathroom culture persisted well into the early modern period, especially in rural areas and among conservative noble families. Resistance patterns also varied, with some groups accepting technical innovations while rejecting social changes, and others embracing new social approaches while maintaining traditional technologies. The complexity of the change process reflects the deep integration of bathroom culture with broader social structures, making isolated changes difficult and comprehensive transformations slow, but ultimately inevitable once the underlying social and economic conditions change sufficiently. The new Renaissance bathroom culture that emerged was fundamentally different from medieval arrangements, emphasizing individual privacy, personal comfort, and functional efficiency over social hierarchy and ceremonial protocol. Instead of complex systems where toilet access and material quality reflected social rank, the new approach treated bathroom facilities as practical necessities that should be designed primarily for functionality, cleanliness, and user comfort. How things were different became apparent in multiple ways. Italian Renaissance palaces featured private bathroom suites for individual family members rather than shared facilities organized by social status. These new arrangements included dedicated washing areas, private toilet spaces, and storage for personal hygiene materials, creating the first recognizable ancestors of modern bathroom design. The emphasis shifted from managing social relationships during bathroom use to providing privacy and comfort that allowed people to handle their biological needs without social complications. Who won and who lost in this transformation reveals the complex social dynamics of cultural change. Wealthy merchants and professionals gained access to bathroom luxury that had previously been reserved for the highest nobility, while traditional nobles found their bathroom privileges less distinctive and socially significant. Individual comfort and privacy became more important than ceremonial protocol, benefiting people who preferred practical arrangements over elaborate social displays. New rules and norms developed around bathroom behavior that emphasized individual responsibility and privacy rather than collective protocols and hierarchy management. Renaissance bathroom etiquette focused on personal cleanliness, appropriate use of facilities, and respect for others' privacy rather than complex rules about who could use which facilities, when, and with what materials. The new approach simplified social interactions by removing bathroom arrangements from the sphere of political and social maneuvering. What stayed the same versus what changed dramatically illustrates the selective nature of cultural transformation. Basic human needs for cleanliness, privacy, and dignity remain constant, but the social mechanisms for meeting those needs changed completely. Technical concerns about waste disposal, ventilation, and hygiene continued to drive design decisions, but social concerns about hierarchy and protocol became much less important. The wealthy still had better bathroom facilities than the poor, but the gap was now based primarily on cost and availability rather than social rules about who deserved what level of bathroom luxury. Innovation and improvement became continuous processes driven by competition and individual preference, rather than occasional changes imposed by social authorities. Renaissance bathroom culture also introduced new concepts that would influence later developments. The idea that bathroom design should reflect personal taste rather than social requirements. The notion that privacy during biological functions was a basic human right rather than a privilege. And the principle that bathroom facilities should be judged primarily on their practical effectiveness rather than their ceremonial appropriateness. The integration of bathroom facilities with broader architectural design created new possibilities for aesthetic expression and functional innovation that medieval arrangements had discouraged. Renaissance architects could design bathroom spaces as integral parts of residential comfort rather than necessary additions to social protocols, leading to innovations in layout, decoration, and technical systems that improved both functionality and visual appeal. Regional variations persisted, but became less important. As successful innovations spread quickly through trade networks, diplomatic contacts, and competitive imitation. The Renaissance emphasis on cultural exchange and learning accelerated the transmission of bathroom innovations across political and linguistic boundaries, creating more standardized approaches to bathroom design and etiquette. The new reality established patterns that would influence European bathroom culture for centuries. The association of bathroom quality with personal rather than social status, the emphasis on privacy and individual comfort, the integration of aesthetic and functional considerations in bathroom design, and the assumption that bathroom facilities should continuously improve through innovation and investment rather than remaining static expressions of traditional social arrangements. Was this change positive or negative? The answer depends largely on your perspective and values, but most evidence suggests that the Renaissance transformation of bathroom culture represented genuine improvement in human dignity, practical functionality, and social equity, even though it came with some costs and complications. Different perspectives reveal the complexity of evaluating cultural change. From the standpoint of individual human dignity and comfort, the Renaissance emphasis on privacy and personal needs clearly represented progress over medieval arrangements that subordinated basic biological functions to social hierarchy. People gained the ability to handle their bathroom needs without navigating complex political and social protocols, reducing stress and embarrassment while improving practical outcomes. Short-term versus long-term effects show mixed results. In the short term, the transition created confusion, increased costs for some people, and disrupted established social relationships and professional specializations. Traditional garderobe keepers and bathroom protocol specialists lost their importance, while new technical specialists gained influence. Some people who had enjoyed high status in the old system found their privileges diminished in the new arrangements. Long-term effects were generally positive, as the Renaissance approach provided a foundation for continued improvement in bathroom facilities, hygiene practices, and social attitudes toward privacy and dignity. The emphasis on functionality and innovation established patterns that would drive centuries of improvement in sanitation, public health, and personal comfort. Unintended consequences included the loss of some community aspects of medieval bathroom culture that had provided social interaction and mutual support, albeit within hierarchical frameworks. The new emphasis on individual privacy sometimes led to isolation and reduced opportunities for the kind of informal social networking that had occurred in medieval communal facilities. The change also created new forms of inequality based on wealth rather than birth, as people with money could afford much better bathroom facilities than those without, but lacked the traditional obligations that had sometimes provided basic facilities for lower status people within feudal arrangements. Modern judgment versus contemporary views reveals the historical contingency of cultural evaluation. Renaissance people generally saw their bathroom innovations as clear improvements that demonstrated their sophistication and practical wisdom compared to their medieval predecessors. Modern observers might appreciate the increased privacy and functionality while questioning some of the individualistic assumptions that reduced community obligations and social solidarity. The transformation established principles about privacy, dignity, and individual rights that would later influence broader developments in human rights and social justice, suggesting that seemingly minor changes in bathroom culture can reflect and reinforce fundamental shifts in how societies understand human nature and social relationships. In the years and decades that followed the Renaissance bathroom revolution, European toilet culture continued evolving in directions that would have amazed medieval garderobe keepers and probably horrified Renaissance humanists who thought they had solved the bathroom problem once and for all. The 16th and 17th centuries brought new challenges that nobody had anticipated. What happens when everybody wants privacy, but cities are getting crowded? When individual comfort becomes a mass market demand, and when religious reformations start, questioning whether bathroom luxury is spiritually appropriate after all. New challenges emerged as Renaissance bathroom innovations spread beyond wealthy Italian families to broader European society. Urban growth meant that the private bathroom solutions that worked perfectly in spacious Renaissance palaces became impractical in crowded city environments, where space was limited and construction costs were high. The individualistic approach that had liberated people from medieval toilet hierarchies created new problems when applied to apartment buildings, boarding houses, and the growing urban middle class who wanted privacy but couldn't afford private facilities. The evolution of the situation took unexpected turns as different social groups adapted Renaissance bathroom principles to their own circumstances and needs. Protestant Reformation leaders began questioning whether the Renaissance emphasis on comfort and privacy was consistent with Christian values of simplicity and community, leading to religious debates about appropriate bathroom arrangements that would have made medieval toilet theologians proud. Meanwhile, Catholic Counter-Reformation authorities worried that Protestant bathroom simplicity was an attack on the dignity of human beings created in God's image. Second-generation effects included the emergence of new professions and industries built around bathroom privacy and comfort. Urban plumbers became more important than castle garderobe keepers, while soap makers, mirror manufacturers, and specialized furniture craftsmen found growing markets for bathroom-related products. The economics of privacy created demand for technical innovations that would make individual bathroom facilities more affordable and practical for ordinary people. The spread of Renaissance bathroom culture also revealed class tensions that had been hidden under medieval hierarchical arrangements. When bathroom quality became a matter of wealth rather than birth, newly rich merchants could afford better facilities than impoverished traditional nobles, creating social friction and status anxiety that expressed itself through competitive bathroom luxury. The emergence of a bathroom-focused consumer culture meant that people's toilet arrangements became visible symbols of their success or failure in the new economy. International differences became more pronounced as different countries developed their own approaches to balancing Renaissance privacy ideals with local conditions, traditions, and values. French bathroom culture emphasized aesthetic refinement and social elegance. German approaches focused on engineering efficiency and practical functionality. English innovations prioritized moral propriety and social respectability, while Spanish developments balanced Catholic religious concerns with Moorish-influenced design traditions. The long-term trajectory pointed toward democratization of bathroom privacy and comfort, but the path was complicated by technical limitations, economic constraints, and social conflicts that created resistance to change. The Renaissance had established privacy and individual comfort as desirable goals, but achieving those goals for entire populations would require innovations and social changes that took centuries to develop and implement. The post-Renaissance bathroom world saw the emergence of entirely new categories of people whose roles and importance would have been incomprehensible to medieval garderobe specialists. These new players brought different skills, perspectives, and interests that fundamentally changed how European society approached toilet culture and bathroom innovation. Urban plumbers emerged as the new kings of bathroom culture, replacing medieval garderobe keepers as the most important bathroom specialists. Unlike their medieval predecessors who managed social protocols and maintained existing facilities, urban plumbers were innovators who designed new systems, solved technical problems, and made bathroom privacy affordable for ordinary people. Master Hans Zimmermann of Augsburg became famous throughout the Holy Roman Empire for developing standardized pipe systems that could provide running water and waste disposal to multiple apartments in the same building, essentially inventing the first mass-market bathroom infrastructure. These urban specialists differed from earlier players because they focused on technical innovation rather than social management, worked for paying customers rather than fuel lords, and competed in open markets rather than serving hereditary positions. Their contributions included developing more efficient water supply systems, creating affordable waste disposal solutions, and standardizing bathroom fixtures that could be mass-produced rather than custom-built for individual noble households. Protestant reformer Andreas Karlstadt developed influential theories about godly simplicity in bathroom arrangements that rejected Renaissance luxury while maintaining cleanliness and privacy standards. Karlstadt argued that bathroom facilities should reflect Christian values of modesty and functionality rather than worldly pride and competitive display, leading to the development of Protestant bathroom aesthetics that emphasize plain surfaces, minimal decoration, and practical efficiency over visual appeal. Catholic bathroom reformers, like Cardinal Carlo Borromeo, took the opposite approach, arguing that beautiful, comfortable bathroom facilities honored the dignity of human beings created in God's image, and that bathroom luxury could be spiritually appropriate if it encouraged proper respect for the body and personal cleanliness. Borromeo's guidelines for Catholic bathroom design influenced church architecture and religious community facilities throughout Europe. The merchant families who financed bathroom innovation represented a new economic force in toilet culture. The Fugger banking family of Augsburg invested heavily in bathroom infrastructure for their commercial properties, recognizing that good toilet facilities could attract better tenants and higher rents. Their innovations included some of the first commercial bathroom facilities designed for travelers and the first systematic approaches to bathroom maintenance and repair in rental properties. Female contributors to bathroom innovation often focused on aspects that male designers had overlooked or undervalued. Caterina Sforza developed influential approaches to bathroom hygiene that emphasized the specific needs of women and children, while Isabella d'Este pioneered bathroom interior design that integrated functional requirements with aesthetic considerations. These women's contributions were essential to making Renaissance bathroom innovations practical for family use rather than just individual male comfort. Technical specialists emerged who focused exclusively on specific aspects of bathroom technology. Water engineers developed new techniques for supplying clean water to urban bathroom facilities, while waste disposal experts created systems for managing sewage in crowded city environments. These specialists often had backgrounds in military engineering, civil construction, or commercial manufacturing rather than traditional castle service, bringing different perspectives and problem-solving approaches to bathroom challenges. The new players also included critics and satirists who mocked excessive bathroom luxury while promoting alternative approaches. Francois Rabelais wrote extensively about bathroom culture in ways that celebrated bodily functions while criticizing social pretensions, while Sebastian Brand's satirical works attacked both medieval toilet hierarchy and Renaissance bathroom vanity as equally ridiculous expressions of human folly. These diverse new players created a more complex and dynamic bathroom culture than had existed in either medieval or early Renaissance periods, with competing approaches, innovative solutions, and ongoing debates about appropriate standards and methods that would influence European toilet culture for centuries. But some problems persisted despite all the Renaissance innovations and post-Renaissance developments, proving that changing bathroom culture was easier than solving the fundamental human challenges that made bathroom arrangements complicated in the first place. The same basic tensions between individual needs and social requirements, between privacy and practicality, between affordability and quality, continued to create problems that no amount of technical innovation or social reform could completely resolve. Continuing challenges included the persistent gap between bathroom ideals and bathroom reality for most people. While Renaissance principles emphasized privacy and comfort, the majority of Europeans still lived in conditions where private bathroom facilities were impractical or unaffordable. Urban growth made the problem worse by concentrating people in crowded conditions where individual bathroom solutions were impossible, while rural poverty meant that most country people continued using medieval or pre-medieval toilet arrangements. Regardless of changing fashions among the wealthy, what didn't get resolved was the fundamental conflict between individual desires for bathroom privacy and the economic and technical constraints that made privacy expensive and difficult to provide. The Renaissance had established privacy as a desirable goal, but achieving privacy for entire populations required infrastructure investments, technical innovations, and social arrangements that were beyond the capabilities of 16th and 17th century societies. New versions of old problems emerged as bathroom culture adapted to changing social and economic conditions. The medieval problem of toilet access hierarchy was replaced by new forms of bathroom inequality based on wealth rather than birth, but the underlying issue of unequal access to basic dignity and comfort remained unchanged. Religious conflicts about appropriate bathroom arrangements replaced medieval debates about spiritual implications of toilet luxury, while urban crowding created new versions of the medieval problem of managing toilet access among competing groups. Cyclical patterns appeared as each generation discovered that bathroom problems they thought had been solved by previous innovations were actually just transformed into new versions of the same underlying challenges. Renaissance privacy solutions created isolation problems that made people nostalgic for medieval communal arrangements, while Protestant simplicity movements generated reactions that led back toward Catholic luxury approaches. Why certain issues proved intractable becomes clear when you realize that bathroom culture reflects fundamental tensions in human nature and social organization that can't be solved through technical innovation alone. The desire for privacy conflicts with the need for community. Individual comfort preferences clash with resource limitations, and social equality ideals run up against practical constraints that make different treatment inevitable. The persistence of bathroom-related social anxiety and embarrassment, despite centuries of cultural evolution, reveals how deeply ingrained human psychology is in this area of life. No amount of technical sophistication or social reform could eliminate the basic human vulnerability and self-consciousness associated with biological functions, meaning that bathroom arrangements would always be potential sources of social tension and personal discomfort. Economic constraints continue to limit bathroom improvements, regardless of changing cultural values or technical capabilities. The cost of providing good bathroom facilities for everyone remained prohibitive throughout the early modern period, meaning that bathroom inequality persisted even in societies that had theoretically committed to individual dignity and privacy. Reichstadt technical limitations also proved more persistent than Renaissance innovators had expected. Reliable water supply, effective waste disposal, and practical ventilation remained challenging and expensive, even with improved engineering techniques, while maintenance requirements for complex bathroom systems often exceeded the capabilities of the people who needed to use them. The ongoing issues also included new problems created by bathroom innovations themselves. Increased water consumption strained urban supply systems. Improved waste disposal created downstream pollution problems, and the individualization of bathroom facilities reduced opportunities for social interaction and community building that had been valuable aspects of earlier communal arrangements compared to earlier medieval periods. Post-Renaissance bathroom culture showed clear improvements in privacy, comfort, and individual dignity, but also revealed new forms of inequality and social tension that medieval hierarchical systems had managed differently. The Renaissance emphasis on individual rights and personal comfort had solved some problems while creating others, leading to bathroom arrangements that were simultaneously more humane and more socially divisive than their medieval predecessors. What was unique about the post-Renaissance period was the emergence of bathroom culture as a consumer market rather than a feudal service, creating opportunities for innovation and improvement, driven by competition and profit rather than tradition and social obligation. This market-based approach generated technical advances and expanded access more rapidly than medieval systems, but also created new vulnerabilities and inequalities based on economic rather than social factors. What was universal across different time periods was the persistence of bathroom arrangements as markers of social status and personal dignity, regardless of the specific mechanisms used to determine who got what kind of toilet access. Medieval hierarchy, Renaissance individualism, and post-Renaissance market systems all used bathroom quality as a way of signaling and reinforcing social distinctions, suggesting that this connection between toilet culture and social structure might be an inevitable aspect of human society. Lessons that could be learned from comparing different periods include the recognition that bathroom problems are fundamentally social rather than technical, meaning that even sophisticated engineering solutions will fail if they don't address underlying issues of human dignity, social equity, and community cooperation. The repeated cycle of bathroom reforms that solved some problems while creating others suggests that sustainable solutions require comprehensive approaches that balance individual needs with social requirements. Patterns that repeated elsewhere included the tendency for bathroom innovations to spread from wealthy urban centers to poorer rural areas, the persistent gap between bathroom ideals and bathroom reality for most people, and the cyclical nature of bathroom reform movements that alternated between emphasizing individual privacy and community cooperation. The comparative analysis also reveals how bathroom culture reflects broader social values and constraints. Medieval arrangements expressed feudal hierarchy and religious community ideals. Renaissance innovations reflected humanist individualism and commercial prosperity, while post-Renaissance developments showed the influence of religious Reformation and urban growth. Understanding these patterns helps explain why bathroom culture continued evolving rather than reaching a stable solution that satisfied everyone's needs. Each set of social and economic conditions created different bathroom challenges that required different solutions, while changing values and technical capabilities opened new possibilities that previous generations couldn't have imagined. The comparison suggests that bathroom culture is inherently dynamic rather than perfectible, with each generation needing to develop its own approaches to balancing competing demands for privacy, community, equality, practicality, and dignity within the constraints of available resources and technical capabilities. This ongoing evolution reflects the fundamental human challenge of organizing social life in ways that meet individual needs, while maintaining community cooperation and social stability. By the late 17th and early 18th centuries, signs pointed to a fundamental transformation in European bathroom culture that would make both medieval garderobe systems and Renaissance privacy innovations seem quaint and primitive by comparison. The warning signs were everywhere. Urban populations were exploding beyond what individual bathroom solutions could handle. New scientific understanding of disease was challenging traditional approaches to waste disposal, and industrial technologies were creating possibilities for mass-produced bathroom facilities that would revolutionize toilet culture more dramatically than anything since the Romans. What key players could see versus what they missed reveals the complex nature of historical transition. Forward-thinking urban planners and public health reformers recognized that existing bathroom arrangements were becoming unsustainable as cities grew larger and more crowded. But they generally underestimated how quickly and completely industrial technologies would transform the possibilities for bathroom design and waste management. Wealthy families investing in elaborate private bathroom Facilities could see that their individual solutions were becoming more expensive and complicated to maintain, but they missed the coming democratization that would make basic bathroom privacy affordable for ordinary people. Traditional bathroom specialists, the urban plumbers, garderobe architects, and toilet material suppliers whose careers had been built on post-Renaissance systems often recognized that their expertise was becoming obsolete but resisted, acknowledging that entirely new approaches would be necessary. They could see that their traditional methods were struggling to meet growing demand, but they typically responded by trying to perfect existing techniques rather than embracing revolutionary alternatives. Resistance to inevitable change came from predictable sources, but also from unexpected directions. Conservative nobles and religious authorities opposed new bathroom technologies for traditional reasons: fear of social disruption, concern about spiritual implications, and attachment to familiar arrangements, but they were joined by established bathroom industry professionals who saw their livelihoods threatened by mass production techniques and standardized systems. Urban authorities, who had invested heavily in existing infrastructure, often resisted changes that would make their investments obsolete, while property owners worried about the costs of adapting buildings to new bathroom technologies. Even some progressive reformers who supported improved bathroom access were reluctant to abandon Renaissance privacy ideals in favor of more collective approaches that new technologies might require. The most significant resistance came from people who had internalized post-Renaissance bathroom culture so completely that they couldn't imagine alternatives. The association of bathroom privacy with human dignity, toilet quality with social status, and individual control over bathroom arrangements with personal freedom had become so deeply embedded in European consciousness that proposals for fundamentally different approaches seemed threatening to basic values rather than mere technical changes. But the signs of inevitable change were overwhelming. City populations were growing faster than private bathroom facilities could be provided. Waste disposal systems were breaking down under the pressure of urban concentration, and industrial technologies were demonstrating that mass-produced bathroom fixtures could be cheaper, more reliable, and more hygienic than traditional custom-built arrangements. Scientific discoveries about disease transmission were undermining traditional assumptions about safe waste disposal methods, while new materials and manufacturing techniques were making previously impossible bathroom innovations practical and affordable. The economic logic of industrial production was creating pressure for standardization and mass distribution that individual craftsmanship couldn't resist, regardless of aesthetic or social preferences. The end of traditional European bathroom culture came not through dramatic revolution, but through gradual displacement as industrial technologies and urban planning created new realities that made older approaches increasingly impractical and irrelevant. The Great London Fire of 1666 and similar urban disasters across Europe created opportunities for rebuilding cities with modern infrastructure that incorporated new approaches to water supply and waste disposal, while the gradual spread of industrial manufacturing made standardized bathroom fixtures affordable for middle-class families who had previously relied on medieval-style arrangements. Specific events that marked the transition included the completion of major urban water supply projects like the new river scheme in London and similar infrastructure developments in Paris, Amsterdam, and other major cities that made running water available to ordinary households for the first time. These projects didn't just improve existing bathroom arrangements, they made entirely new approaches possible by providing the reliable water supply and waste disposal capacity that modern bathroom systems required. The final major players in the old system included master craftsmen like the Parisian toilet cabinet maker Jean-Baptiste Lully, not the composer, but his contemporary namesake, who spent decades perfecting elaborate individual bathroom furniture that combined aesthetic, beauty with functional efficiency, only to see his market disappear as mass-produced fixtures became available. Lully's workshop produced some of the most sophisticated bathroom appointments in European history. Hand-carved toilet seats with mother-of-pearl inlays, custom-fitted washing basins with silver fixtures, and ventilation systems that were both mechanically ingenious and artistically elegant. But even Lully recognized that his era was ending when wealthy customers began requesting simpler, more modern arrangements that could be easily maintained and replaced rather than preserved as heirloom furniture. His final commission, a complete bathroom suite for the Duke of Orleans, was designed to be installed using standardized pipe connections and replaceable fixtures, representing the last gasp of traditional custom bathroom craftsmanship. Adapted to industrial realities, last attempts to preserve traditional approaches included the formation of guilds and professional associations dedicated to maintaining old-style bathroom expertise, while some conservative noble families deliberately continued using medieval-style garderobe arrangements as statements of cultural authenticity and resistance to modernization. The Earl of Pembroke famously restored the medieval garderobes at Wilton House and used them exclusively until his death in 1733, insisting that proper English gentlemen should not surrender their most private moments to foreign industrial innovations. Religious communities often provided the last refuges for traditional bathroom culture, as monasteries and convents maintained older communal arrangements, both for economic reasons and because they reflected religious values of simplicity and community cooperation that industrial individualism seemed to threaten. Some Catholic institutions continued using modified medieval latrine systems well into the 18th century, arguing that communal toilet arrangements promoted humility and spiritual brotherhood in ways that private facilities could not. The dramatic final moments of the old era came during the cholera epidemics of the early 19th century, when traditional waste disposal methods proved catastrophically inadequate to prevent disease transmission in crowded urban environments. The 1832 cholera outbreak in London killed thousands of people and demonstrated conclusively that individual bathroom solutions and traditional waste management techniques were not just old-fashioned, but literally deadly in modern urban conditions. The symbolic endpoints include the demolition of the last castle garderobes that were still in active use. Many were converted to storage closets or simply sealed off as new bathroom facilities were installed elsewhere, and the closing of traditional bathroom craft workshops that could no longer compete with industrial production. The publication of the first standardized bathroom fixture catalogs marked a moment when toilet culture became a matter of selecting from available options rather than commissioning custom solutions. Perhaps the most poignant symbol of the transition was the fate of the elaborate bathroom material preparation workshops that had employed hundreds of specialists in cleaning, perfuming, and maintaining the silk strips, linen cloths, and imported sponges that post-Renaissance bathroom culture had required. These workshops gradually disappeared as mass-produced toilet paper became available, eliminating centuries of specialized knowledge about textile, bathroom materials, and the sophisticated supply chains that had supported them. The final death now came with the widespread adoption of water closets and flush toilets that made traditional approaches to waste disposal and toilet materials completely obsolete, creating the modern bathroom arrangements that would have amazed medieval garderobe keepers and probably horrified Renaissance bathroom purists who had spent centuries perfecting individual privacy and comfort solutions. The analysis of causes reveals that traditional European bathroom culture ended because it became fundamentally incompatible with the demographic, technological, and social realities of modern urban industrial society, rather than because people decided they preferred different approaches to toilet arrangements. The system that had evolved from medieval hierarchies through Renaissance innovations simply couldn't scale up to meet the needs of populations that were larger, more concentrated, and more mobile than anything previous centuries had experienced. Internal problems included the impossibility of providing individual private bathroom facilities for entire urban populations using traditional construction and maintenance methods. The post-Renaissance emphasis on privacy and personal comfort had created expectations that couldn't be met using pre-industrial technologies and craftsmanship approaches, leading to a gap between bathroom ideals and bathroom reality that kept growing wider as cities expanded and more people demanded access to good toilet facilities. The economic logic of traditional bathroom culture also became unsustainable as labor costs increased and the skilled craftsmen needed for custom bathroom construction became scarce and expensive. Individual families could no longer afford to employ dedicated bathroom servants or commission elaborate custom toilet facilities, while urban property owners couldn't provide adequate bathroom facilities for tenants using traditional individual approaches. External pressures included the public health crises created by traditional waste disposal methods in crowded urban environments, the availability of new technologies that made different approaches possible, and the economic advantages of industrial production methods that could provide better bathroom facilities at lower costs than traditional craftsmanship. The cholera epidemics of the 19th century demonstrated that traditional approaches were not just inadequate, but actively dangerous in modern conditions. The role of individuals versus historical forces in ending the old system shows the complex interaction between personal choice and structural change. Individual innovators, public health reformers, and industrial entrepreneurs provided the leadership and creativity necessary for developing new approaches, but broader demographic and economic forces made change inevitable regardless of what any individual wanted or did. What could have been done differently is a fascinating counterfactual question. Traditional bathroom culture might have survived longer if urban growth had been slower, if public health understanding had developed differently, or if industrial technologies had emerged in different sequences. Some historians argue that more gradual transition might have preserved valuable aspects of traditional bathroom culture while still achieving modern sanitation goals. But the fundamental incompatibility between individual craftsmanship approaches and mass urban needs suggests that some form of dramatic transformation was unavoidable once populations reached certain threshold sizes and concentrations. The question wasn't whether traditional bathroom culture would end, but how quickly and completely the transition would occur. Inevitability versus contingency in the end of traditional bathroom culture reflects broader questions about historical change and technological determinism. While specific events and individual decisions influence the timing and details of the transformation, the underlying pressures created by urbanization, industrialization, and public health needs made some form of fundamental change virtually certain. The analysis also reveals how technological possibilities and social values interact in complex ways during periods of cultural transformation. Traditional bathroom culture didn't end simply because new technologies became available. It ended because those technologies offered solutions to problems that existing approaches couldn't solve, while also supporting social values of equality, efficiency, and public health. The traditional hierarchical and individualistic approaches had difficulty accommodating. Understanding why traditional bathroom culture ended helps explain broader patterns of social and technological change, showing how even deeply embedded cultural practices can become obsolete when they conflict with new realities, regardless of their historical importance or the attachment people feel to familiar arrangements. The immediate aftermath of traditional bathroom culture's demise was a chaotic period of experimentation, conflict, and gradual adaptation as European society struggled to develop new approaches to toilet arrangements that could meet modern needs while preserving valued aspects of privacy, dignity, and social order that older systems had provided. Who stepped into the vacuum left by traditional bathroom specialists included industrial engineers, urban planners, public health officials, and commercial manufacturers who brought different perspectives and priorities to bathroom design and management. These new authorities often had little understanding of or respect for the social and cultural functions that traditional bathroom arrangements had served, leading to early modern toilet systems that solved technical problems while creating new social difficulties. Short-term consequences included widespread confusion about appropriate bathroom etiquette and social protocols, as the complex rules that had governed toilet behavior under traditional systems were suddenly irrelevant but hadn't been replaced by clear new guidelines. The transition period saw awkward experimentation with different approaches to bathroom privacy, cleanliness standards, and social interaction that often satisfied no one completely. Contemporary reactions varied dramatically depending on social position, age, and cultural background. Older people who had grown up with traditional arrangements often felt displaced and uncomfortable with new bathroom systems that seemed impersonal and undignified, while younger people generally embraced changes that offered better functionality and broader access to bathroom privacy and comfort. Conservative critics argued that industrial bathroom systems represented a decline in civilization and human dignity, while progressive supporters celebrated the democratization of toilet facilities and the public health benefits of modern sanitation. Religious authorities were divided between those who welcomed improved cleanliness and those who worried about the spiritual implications of abandoning traditional approaches to bodily functions and community cooperation. Attempts at revival or continuation included nostalgic movements that tried to preserve traditional bathroom craftsmanship and social protocols within modern systems, while some wealthy families continued maintaining elaborate individual toilet arrangements as status symbols and cultural statements. These efforts generally failed because they couldn't address the fundamental problems that had made traditional approaches obsolete, but they influenced the development of luxury bathroom markets that preserved some aspects of traditional attention to comfort and aesthetic refinement. The immediate legacy also included the preservation of certain principles from traditional bathroom culture, emphasis on privacy, attention to cleanliness, recognition of bathroom arrangements as markers of social status that would influence modern bathroom design and etiquette, even within completely different technological and social frameworks. The legacy of medieval and Renaissance bathroom culture shaped later developments in ways that most people never realize, establishing patterns and principles that continue influencing how we think about privacy, dignity, social status, and the relationship between individual needs and community arrangements, even in our supposedly modern toilet systems. Specific influences on later periods include the Renaissance establishment of bathroom privacy as a fundamental human right, rather than a privilege to be earned through social status, which provided philosophical foundations for later democratic movements that emphasized individual dignity and equal treatment. The medieval understanding that bathroom arrangements reflect and reinforce social hierarchies influenced how 19th and 20th century reformers approached public health and urban planning, recognizing that toilet facilities could be tools for social control or social liberation depending on how they were designed and distributed. How later generations viewed medieval and Renaissance bathroom culture reveals fascinating shifts in cultural values and historical understanding. Victorian reformers generally saw medieval toilet arrangements as evidence of primitive barbarism that justified their own sanitation projects, while completely missing the sophisticated social and technical aspects of medieval garderobe systems. Early 20th century historians focused on the technical innovations of Renaissance bathroom design while ignoring the social conflicts and power relationships that drove those innovations. More recent scholarship has recognized that medieval and Renaissance people were often more thoughtful about the social implications of bathroom arrangements than modern industrial societies, leading to renewed interest in historical approaches to balancing individual privacy with community cooperation, environmental sustainability with personal comfort, and social equity with practical functionality. Myths versus realities that developed include the persistent but false belief that medieval people were generally dirty and unconcerned with hygiene, which ignores the sophisticated understanding of cleanliness and elaborate bathroom protocols that characterize noble culture. The myth that Renaissance bathroom innovations represented the first civilized approach to toilet arrangements overlooks both the practical effectiveness of many medieval systems and the social problems created by Renaissance individualism. Another persistent myth is that historical bathroom arrangements were purely practical and functional, ignoring the complex ways that toilet culture expressed social values, political relationships, and cultural identities. Modern people often assume that our current bathroom arrangements are natural and inevitable, rather than historically contingent choices that reflect specific cultural values and technological capabilities. Why medieval and Renaissance bathroom culture remained important to later generations often had more to do with symbolic and ideological concerns than practical considerations. Reformers used historical examples to support arguments for their own preferred approaches, while conservatives cited historical precedents to resist changes they opposed. The complex history of bathroom culture provided ammunition for competing political and social movements that had very different goals and values. The scholarly study of historical bathroom culture also influenced broader approaches to social history, gender studies, and the history of daily life, helping establish the principle that seemingly mundane aspects of human experience can reveal important truths about power relationships, cultural values, and social organization. Understanding how people in the past handled their most basic biological needs provides insights into how they understood human nature, social cooperation, and the relationship between individual dignity and community welfare. Why some aspects of historical bathroom culture were forgotten while others were remembered reflects the complex politics of historical memory and cultural transmission. Aspects that supported modern values or could be adapted to contemporary needs were more likely to be preserved, while elements that challenged current assumptions or seemed irrelevant to modern concerns often disappeared from popular consciousness. The influence on architecture, urban planning, and public health policy has been substantial, but often unrecognized. Medieval understanding of waste disposal and air circulation influenced early modern sanitation systems, while Renaissance privacy innovations provided models for later bathroom design. The historical association between bathroom quality and social status continues, shaping how modern societies approach public toilet provision and the politics of sanitation infrastructure. Modern building codes, zoning regulations, and architectural standards still reflect principles that can be traced back to medieval and Renaissance bathroom culture, particularly regarding privacy requirements, ventilation standards, and the relationship between bathroom facilities and social space organization. Today, we can see echoes of medieval and Renaissance bathroom culture in contemporary examples that reveal how little has really changed about the fundamental human challenges surrounding toilet arrangements, privacy, dignity, and the intersection of biological necessity with social organization. Specific parallels between historical and modern bathroom issues include the persistent connection between toilet quality and social status that medieval people would recognize immediately. Modern luxury bathroom design serves the same social signaling functions that elaborate garderobe appointments serve for medieval nobles, While the bathroom inequality between rich and poor neighborhoods mirrors the hierarchical toilet access that characterized medieval castle life. The difference is that we use economic markets rather than feudal relationships to determine who gets better bathroom facilities. But the underlying pattern of bathroom privilege reflecting social position remains remarkably consistent. The modern obsession with bathroom privacy and individual control over toilet arrangements directly descends from Renaissance innovations in bathroom design and social protocols. Our assumption that everyone deserves private bathroom facilities, our discomfort with communal toilet arrangements, and our willingness to pay premium prices for bathroom luxury all reflect values and expectations that emerged during the Renaissance transformation of European toilet culture. What hasn't changed about human nature becomes obvious when you compare modern bathroom anxiety and social awkwardness with historical accounts of medieval and Renaissance toilet etiquette. People still worry about bathroom-related embarrassment, still use toilet facilities as spaces for social avoidance or private refuge, and still find ways to make bathroom arrangements sources of conflict and competition. The specific mechanisms have changed, but the underlying psychological and social dynamics remain remarkably similar. Contemporary workplace bathroom politics mirror medieval castle garderobe hierarchies in ways that would amuse Master Geoffrey the garderobe builder. Executive washrooms serve the same function as private noble garderobes, while employees navigate complex unwritten rules about bathroom behavior that echo medieval protocols for toilet access and etiquette. The modern phenomenon of bathroom-related workplace stress and the careful management of bathroom scheduling during meetings would be completely familiar to medieval castle stewards, who had to coordinate garderobe access during diplomatic gatherings. Similar patterns in different contexts appear throughout modern life. College dormitory bathroom arrangements recreate medieval communal latrine dynamics, while luxury hotels compete using bathroom amenities the same way. Renaissance palaces competed through toilet facility sophistication. Public restroom politics reflect the same tensions between individual privacy and community needs that characterized medieval bathroom culture, while gender-separated facilities echo historical understanding that different groups required different toilet arrangements. Modern bathroom renovation shows and luxury fixture marketing use the same strategies that medieval toilet material suppliers used to convince customers that bathroom quality reflects personal worth and social status. The contemporary bathroom industry's emphasis on comfort, privacy, and aesthetic refinement directly continues Renaissance bathroom culture's focus on individual dignity and personal taste expression. Urban public toilet provision faces identical challenges that medieval and Renaissance cities encountered. How to balance individual privacy with practical constraints, how to maintain facilities serving diverse populations, and how to prevent toilet arrangements from becoming sources of social conflict and public health problems. Modern debates about public restroom access, maintenance funding, and design standards echo historical discussions about appropriate toilet provision and community responsibility for sanitation. The modern environmental movement's criticism of wasteful bathroom practices parallels medieval religious critiques of toilet luxury, while contemporary minimalist bathroom design trends echo Renaissance humanist arguments for functional simplicity over elaborate decoration. Current discussions about sustainable toilet technology and water conservation reflect the same practical concerns about resource management that influenced historical bathroom innovations. Modern bathroom technology might seem revolutionary, but the social and psychological functions that bathroom arrangements serve remain consistent with historical patterns. We still use toilet facilities for privacy and refuge, still worry about bathroom-related social embarrassment, still compete through bathroom luxury, and still struggle to balance individual desires for comfort and privacy with practical constraints and community needs. The persistence of bathroom-related humor, anxiety, and social awkwardness across centuries suggest that some aspects of human experience transcend technological and cultural change. Medieval people's bathroom jokes, Renaissance toilet etiquette, guides, and modern bathroom humor all address the same fundamental human discomfort with the intersection of biological necessity and social interaction. Understanding these modern parallels helps explain why studying historical bathroom culture isn't just academic curiosity, but practical insight into persistent human challenges that every society must address, regardless of its technological capabilities or cultural values. Even now, medieval and Renaissance bathroom culture influences contemporary areas in ways that most people never recognize, but that significantly shape our daily experiences and social expectations. Academic study of historical toilet culture has established important precedents for understanding how seemingly mundane aspects of daily life reflect broader social values and power relationships. Historians, anthropologists, and sociologists use bathroom culture as a lens for examining social inequality, cultural change, and the politics of privacy and dignity in ways that were pioneered by scholars studying medieval and Renaissance toilet arrangements. Popular culture continues drawing on historical bathroom imagery and references, from medieval-themed restaurants that feature garderobe-inspired restroom designs to Renaissance fair attractions that educate visitors about historical toilet practices. This cultural transmission keeps historical bathroom knowledge alive while often simplifying or distorting the complex realities of historical toilet culture. Political discourse increasingly recognizes bathroom access as a human rights issue that reflects broader principles of social justice and human dignity, arguments that directly echo Renaissance humanist claims about the relationship between toilet facilities and individual worth. Modern debates about public restroom provision, transgender bathroom access, and sanitation infrastructure in developing countries use moral and philosophical frameworks that were established during historical discussions about appropriate toilet arrangements. Social movements around sanitation, public health, and urban planning continue using historical examples to support arguments for improved bathroom facilities and more equitable toilet access. The historical understanding that bathroom arrangements reflect and reinforce social hierarchies provides intellectual foundations for contemporary efforts to address sanitation inequality and bathroom-related discrimination. Why people still care about historical bathroom culture reflects continuing human struggles with the same fundamental challenges that medieval and Renaissance people faced: how to balance individual privacy with community cooperation, how to provide dignity and comfort during vulnerable biological moments, and how to prevent necessary human functions from becoming sources of social conflict and inequality. These challenges remain as relevant today as they were centuries ago, making historical bathroom culture a continuing source of insight and inspiration. The enduring influence of medieval and Renaissance bathroom culture demonstrates that historical understanding can provide valuable perspectives on contemporary challenges, while also revealing the persistence of fundamental human needs and social dynamics that transcend specific technological or cultural contexts. Modern bathroom design, public health policy, and social etiquette all bear traces of innovations and principles that emerged during the medieval and Renaissance transformation of European toilet culture. The Renaissance establishment of privacy as a bathroom right, the medieval understanding of toilet arrangements as social symbols, and the historical recognition that bathroom facilities reflect community values continue influencing how contemporary societies approach sanitation challenges. The study of historical bathroom culture also illustrates how cultural change occurs through complex interactions between technological possibilities, social values, economic constraints, and individual innovations. Understanding how medieval and Renaissance people solved their toilet challenges provides models for addressing modern sanitation problems while avoiding mistakes that historical societies made in their bathroom arrangements. Perhaps most importantly, historical bathroom culture reveals that human dignity and social cooperation are achievable goals regardless of technological limitations, while also showing that technological sophistication doesn't automatically solve social problems related to privacy, equality, and community welfare. Medieval garderobe keepers and Renaissance bathroom innovators faced fundamentally similar challenges to modern sanitation engineers and public health officials, suggesting that historical experience remains relevant for contemporary problem solving. The continuing relevance of historical bathroom culture reflects the persistence of basic human needs that every society must address: the need for privacy during vulnerable moments, the desire for comfort and dignity in daily life, and the challenge of organizing community resources to meet individual requirements. These needs remain constant even as the specific technologies and social arrangements for meeting them continue evolving, making historical bathroom culture a permanently valuable source of insight into human nature and social organization. Looking back across the centuries of European bathroom culture we've explored together, we've seen how something as basic as using the toilet became a complex intersection of engineering innovation, social hierarchy, political diplomacy, economic competition, and deeply personal human dignity that shaped the daily lives of everyone, from peasants to kings, in ways that would surprise anyone who thinks history is just about wars and politics. Major themes that emerged throughout our journey include the persistent tension between individual privacy and community cooperation that influenced every aspect of toilet culture, from medieval garderobe design to Renaissance bathroom protocols. We discovered how bathroom arrangements consistently served as markers and enforcers of social status, whether through medieval hierarchical access to castle facilities or Renaissance competitive luxury in private toilet appointments. The relationship between technological innovation and social values proved crucial, as engineering advances in waste disposal and ventilation enabled social changes in privacy expectations and dignity standards. Key patterns that repeated across different periods include the cyclical nature of bathroom reform movements that alternated between emphasizing individual comfort and community welfare, the persistent gap between bathroom ideals and bathroom reality for most people, and the tendency for bathroom innovations to create new problems while solving old ones. Every generation discovered that previous solutions had unintended consequences that required further innovation and adaptation. Most surprising discoveries include the sophistication of medieval understanding about hygiene, waste management, and the social psychology of toilet arrangements, which often exceeded later periods in thoughtfulness and effectiveness. The complexity of Renaissance bathroom diplomacy and the genuine political consequences of toilet-related incidents reveal how deeply bathroom culture was integrated with broader social and political systems. The persistence of bathroom-related anxiety and social awkwardness across centuries of cultural and technological change suggests that some human challenges transcend historical context. Most important takeaways from our exploration include the recognition that bathroom culture reflects fundamental human values about dignity, privacy, community cooperation, and social organization that remain relevant regardless of specific technological capabilities. The historical understanding that toilet arrangements both express and shape social relationships provides insight into contemporary debates about public facilities, sanitation equity, and the politics of privacy. The repeated historical pattern of bathroom innovations creating unexpected social consequences offers valuable perspective on modern technological optimism and the limits of engineering solutions to social problems. how understanding has evolved through our journey reveals the value of taking seemingly mundane aspects of daily life seriously as sources of historical insight and contemporary wisdom. What began as curiosity about medieval toilet paper alternatives expanded into recognition of bathroom culture as a lens for understanding power relationships, cultural values, technological change, and the persistence of fundamental human needs. Across historical periods, the evolution of our understanding also shows how historical knowledge can challenge contemporary assumptions about progress, civilization, and the relationship between technological sophistication and human welfare. Medieval and Renaissance people often approached bathroom challenges with more social awareness and cultural sensitivity than modern industrial societies, while also demonstrating that good intentions and sophisticated techniques don't guarantee successful outcomes. Our journey has revealed bathroom culture as a surprisingly rich and complex aspect of human experience that deserves recognition as a legitimate area of historical study and contemporary reflection, offering insights into human nature and social organization that more conventional historical topics sometimes miss. To encapsulate everything we've discovered about the surprising complexity and enduring relevance of historical bathroom culture, let me share one final story that perfectly illustrates how individual human dignity, social cooperation, technological innovation, and cultural values intersected in ways that medieval people understood better than we often give them credit for. In 1348, during the height of the Black Death, the Benedictine monastery of Saint Denis near Paris faced a crisis that threatened both the physical survival and spiritual mission of their community. The plague had killed their master plumber, their garderobe keeper, and most of the lay brothers who maintained their sophisticated communal latrine system that had served the monastery effectively for over a century. The surviving monks faced the choice between abandoning their carefully planned toilet facilities and developing new approaches that could function without specialized maintenance. Brother Antoine, the monastery's librarian who had never shown interest in practical matters, emerged as an unlikely hero by developing what he called the democratic garderobe, a simplified communal toilet system that could be maintained by anyone in the community regardless of their technical expertise or social status. Antoine's innovation wasn't just technical but philosophical. He argued that during times of crisis, survival required abandoning hierarchical approaches to essential services in favor of systems that emphasize mutual cooperation and shared responsibility. The system Antoine designed included rotation schedules that ensured everyone participated in maintenance regardless of their other duties, simplified construction that could be repaired using readily available materials and basic skills, and decision-making processes that gave every community member voice in how toilet facilities were managed and improved. Most importantly, Antoine established the principle that access to dignified toilet facilities was a basic requirement for community membership that shouldn't depend on individual status, contribution, or popularity. What makes this story so remarkable is that Antoine's democratic garderobe worked brilliantly not just during the immediate crisis, but for decades afterward, becoming a model that other monasteries copied and adapted to their own circumstances. The system proved more resilient, more equitable, and ultimately more sophisticated than the hierarchical arrangements it replaced, even though it used simpler technology and required less specialized expertise. The deeper significance of Antoine's innovation was his recognition that good toilet systems require social cooperation more than technical sophistication, that sustainable solutions must be maintainable by the people who use them rather than dependent on specialized experts, and that crisis situations often reveal the weakness of arrangements that seem sophisticated but lack democratic participation and community ownership. Brother Antoine died in 1367, But his approach to bathroom democracy influenced monastic communities across Europe and contributed to broader discussions about appropriate relationships between individual dignity and community welfare that would later influence Renaissance bathroom innovations and eventually modern public health approaches. His grave marker, which still exists in the St. Denis Cemetery, includes the inscription, "He taught us that human dignity flows through all of life's necessities," capturing perfectly the understanding that bathroom arrangements reveal and shape our deepest values about human worth and social cooperation. Why this story encapsulates our broader themes is that it demonstrates how individual creativity, social crisis, technological constraints, and cultural values interact to produce innovations that serve human needs, while expressing fundamental principles about dignity, cooperation, and community responsibility. Antoine's democratic garderobe represents the best possibilities of historical bathroom culture. Practical effectiveness combined with social consciousness, technological innovation serving human values, and recognition that even the most private human functions are ultimately community responsibilities that require collective wisdom and shared commitment. As we reach the end of our journey through the surprisingly rich and complex world of medieval bathroom culture, it's worth reflecting on how this exploration has revealed the persistence of fundamental human challenges that transcend specific historical periods or technological capabilities. The medieval nobles who worried about toilet material quality, the Renaissance architects who designed elaborate privacy systems, and the monastery communities who developed democratic approaches to sanitation all faced versions of the same challenges. We still encounter how to balance individual dignity with community cooperation, how to use available resources effectively while treating everyone fairly, and how to handle the most basic human needs in ways that reflect our highest values. Their solutions were different from ours, but their challenges remain remarkably familiar, suggesting that studying historical bathroom culture isn't just entertaining curiosity, but genuine wisdom about persistent human concerns that every generation must address anew. Understanding how previous societies approached these challenges provides perspective on our own bathroom arrangements and insight into possibilities we might not have considered. Perhaps most importantly, this exploration reveals that human dignity and social cooperation are achievable goals regardless of technological limitations, while also showing that technological sophistication doesn't automatically solve the social and psychological challenges that make bathroom arrangements complicated. For every human community, the medieval castle garderobes are empty now. The Renaissance bathroom cabinets have been replaced by modern fixtures, and the elaborate social protocols that once governed European toilet culture have been forgotten by everyone except historians and documentary viewers who stay up late, learning about surprisingly fascinating aspects of daily life in centuries past. But the fundamental human needs that drove all those innovations, the desire for privacy during vulnerable moments, the requirement for dignity in the most basic biological functions, the challenge of organizing community resources to serve individual requirements, these remain as urgent and relevant today as they were when medieval architects were designing garderobe ventilation systems, and Renaissance nobles were competing over imported Mediterranean sponges. The next time you encounter modern bathroom arrangements, whether it's the privacy of your own home facilities, the social negotiations required in workplace restrooms, or the complex politics of public toilet provision, remember that you're participating in cultural traditions and facing challenges that connect you to centuries of human experience and ingenuity. From medieval garderobe keepers to Renaissance bathroom philosophers, from monastery toilet democrats to industrial sanitation engineers, every generation has had to solve the same basic puzzle: how to handle the most universal human biological functions in ways that preserve dignity, promote health, enable community, cooperation, and reflect the values we claim to hold about human worth and social responsibility. Their solutions vary dramatically, but their commitment to human dignity and practical wisdom provides inspiration for contemporary challenges and reminder that good bathroom arrangements, like good societies, require both technical competence and social consciousness. Both individual consideration and community cooperation sweep well. And remember that even in your most private moments, you're part of a long human tradition of people trying to balance personal needs with social values, individual comfort with community, welfare and biological necessity with cultural meaning. Sweet dreams. And thank you for joining this unexpectedly profound journey through the bathrooms of the past. In the quiet darkness of tonight, as modern plumbing hums softly in the walls around you, and contemporary bathroom fixtures wait silently for tomorrow's use, the spirits of medieval garderobe keepers and Renaissance bathroom innovators rest peacefully, knowing that their work contributed to the long human project of creating dignity and comfort in life's most universal moments. Their castles have crumbled, their elaborate toilet materials have turned to dust, and their complex social protocols have been forgotten. But their commitment to human dignity and practical wisdom lives on in every bathroom arrangement that prioritizes both individual privacy and community welfare, reminding us that even the most mundane aspects of daily life can reflect our highest aspirations for human flourishing and social cooperation. The story continues, but tonight, it's time to rest.